Watching the success of Collingwood and Carlton this year, and of Richmond and West Coast in previous years, made me reflect on one of the AFL's largest clubs. The 4 previous teams topped this season's membership chart, but Essendon was 5th, with over 85,000 members. It's hard to believe, but it's been 19 seasons since a finals win, and the Bombers seem to be in a cycle of never-ending mediocrity. It's been roughly 10 years since the supplement saga, and in many ways the club has recovered in terms of reputation and some off-field aspects. But well before the supplement saga, the on-field performance was average at best, and the cycle has continued on since. Since 2004, the highest place Essendon has finished on the ladder is 7th in 2013 and 2014. But they have rarely finished in the bottom 4, but they've been stuck between 7th and 13th for 13 out of the 19 seasons. They are stuck in essentially no man's land, and it's incredibly frustrating, and no one feels this more than the large fan base at Essendon. If a club with the rich history of Essendon can wake up out of this 20-year slumber and get on a run like Collingwood, can you imagine the huge uprising and hysteria of the fans? 85,000 members would no doubt catapult to well over 100,000, and Marvel Stadium might sell out most weeks, and the MCG would be filled no matter who the opponent is. It's been so long since success that the fan base might even excel what we are seeing currently from Collingwood and Carlton. Going back a couple of seasons ago, when Ben Rutten was sacked and the board was split, the result did end up in appointing experienced coach and football operator Brad Scott. He became the new coach after spending 10 seasons at North Melbourne before taking up the general manager role at AFL House. His new direction was clear, that he wanted the club to adopt the standards needed to succeed and wanted growth in individual players rather than the whole team. Besides the last month of the year, this was mostly achieved. The drop-off was concerning, but Scott now has the group for a full pre-season. No more football trips either, as a large group of players are heading to Arizona in the off-season for specialty training. New captain Zach Merritt is the leader of setting the training standards which seem to be missing, and right now the group looks like it's heading in the right direction, not only raising the calibre of training, but creating a consistent, high-level line that every player must meet. Obviously, time will tell if this is really working. The growth Scott wanted in individual players was mostly successful. Again, it's hard to forget that last horrid month, but the majority of Essendon's playing list improved from 2022. Zach Merritt was a star as captain, Kyle Langford kicked over 50 goals as a forward, Archie Perkins, Ben Hobbs, Elijah Sitsas and Jai Caldwell all got important midfield minutes, and wingers in Nick Martin and Sam Durham showed large improvement. With Andrew Phillips retiring as a ruck, it looks like Sam Draper and Nick Bryan are going to be a long-term ruck duo, which is exciting. And it was encouraging to see Nick Cox get a run at it, and Alwyn Davey Jr. earlier in the year showed he has talent, but both still have a lot to improve. There was a lot to like on the playing list in 2023, but there are huge holes that do need to be filled. Brandon Zerk-Thatcher had a solid year, but he has requested a trade to Port Adelaide, so it leaves just Ridley and Laverde as the first team key backs. Hopefully Zach Reid can play some AFL, but it probably means Essendon will break the bank for Ben Mackay. They are the front runners right now for his services, and if they get him, it instantly fixes a big need. It means he can take the number 1 forward on the opposition, put way less pressure on Laverde, and allows Jordan Ridley to intercept as a third defender and springboard attacks from defence. Getting a big-bodied midfielder is next. Keeping Parrish was an interesting choice, as he is a similar size to Merritt, Hobbs and Caldwell. He does wing clearance better than anyone, but his work under pressure and disposal use isn't great. But he is another body in the midfield to wing clearance. And hopefully Will Setterfield can return after injury blew up his impressive start in the red and black. Not only can he play inside mid, but can also feature on the wing. Essendon have pick 8, so they do have players to choose from as a future big body midfielder. Nate Caddy will be around the mark, and at 192cm, he has mainly played key forward but has pinched hit in the middle. But at AFL level, his size at a centre square bounce would be important. In the mock drafts, the next big midfielders in Riley Hardman and Caleb Windsor are roughly 10 picks from Essendon's first round selection, so if they like either one or someone else, they could split the pick, and moving back is an option. The forward line is in okay shape. Langford became a star, and it's important to remember Peter Wright badly dislocated his shoulder, limiting his output, and Harrison Jones will return after a year of back issues. Both will be much better next year, so getting a crumbing forward at their feet would be great, and it's no surprise Essendon are in the market for Jade Gresham. He clearly has talent, but he has had inconsistency due to injury and switching roles. If they can get him for a cheap price, it's worth a shot, but he isn't one you'd give out a long-term multi-million-dollar contract to. Hopefully Alwyn Davey Jr. can build in his first season, and let's also hope that his brother Jaden can play some senior football next year. Both could be the smaller spark players the Bombers need. Essendon and Brad Scott set up a strong foundation to build on last year, but now it's actually time to hit the elite level needed to be a contender. Messaging about improving and creating the future have been heard enough for the last 20 years. Targeting a low 8 finish or again wanting to improve as individuals gives such an easy out to the whole club. Collingwood went from 17th through a prelim, and St Kilda, who many predicted to be a bottom 4 team, hosted a final. It's about having the goal to win the premiership. It should be as simple as that. That's the mindset Essendon needs to have as a historic and iconic AFL club. It just doesn't seem right that a club with 16 premierships and legendary players has been flatlined to being average at best. Right now, the change can be made and not just started. To get this team back to where it belongs, and that's top of the competition with a fan base raging with passion.